One of the worst things to hear when you're sick and trying to get healthy is to be patient. And there are two different types of patient. You could sit around and wait for something to happen, or you can sit around, build up your energy reserves, so when the time comes, you can make something happen. And that's really the type of patient that we're talking about here. But I understand how frustrating this is. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, I'm completely wiped out. I feel like I have to do something. What is the next step? And in their case, the next step was to be patient. They have to build up their energy reserves. And like I said, I have been sick. A lot of people assume that I've just had great health throughout my life just because of what I do. And that's not the case. I had autoimmunity that totally just wiped out my health. I lost 20 pounds in 3 weeks. It's to the point where I couldn't run one lap around a 100-meter track without being out of breath. I've had severe burnout, and we're not just talking about the burnout where I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to go to work, but I had headaches every single day. I didn't want to be around anybody. I couldn't sleep. Just totally exhausted, but just could not sleep. Just the things that I would typically love weren't enjoyable anymore. I've been burned out. I've been sick. And I know that the worst thing to hear is just be patient because you want to take action. You want to do something. You want to feel better. And that's a good thing. That's where I want you to be. I want you to want that. But at the same time, we've got to be able to build up those energy reserves because most of the time when we're in those situations, our bodies are so beat down, they're not able to make energy properly. And if you don't have anything in the tank, you're not going to be able to do what you need to do, right? So let's imagine we're going on a road trip and you don't have money for gas. So you decide to just go out with a quarter tank of gas. How far are you going to get? It's not going to do you much good, right? But if you wait a couple weeks and you've got money for a couple tanks of gas, you could go a little further, right? And that's ultimately what we're looking at here. If you don't have the energy in the tank to actually make progress, it's not going to do you any good. Getting to the point where you're completely wiped out and frustrated again doesn't help you. We've got to have that ability to actually build the energy reserves to the point where we're going to be able to take that forward and use that in an actionable way. And I mean, sure, if you're going on a quarter tank, you're taking action, but it's not really an actionable thing, right? Because you're not actually making progress. You're maybe going, if we use the road trip, if you got a quarter tank of gas, you might be able to go a couple miles, but then you're going to have to stop and wait until you get another tank of gas. And then you're going to have to stop and wait, get another tank of gas. Stop and wait, get another tank of gas. Whereas if you have money for a few tanks of gas, you could just go. You make progress, you move. And that is the thing that is difficult for this situation. So right now, if you're sitting there and you're frustrated with where you're at, and you're like, what can I do? What action do I need to take to get to that next level? A lot of times it's work on your metabolism. Build up the energy that you need. If you can build up the energy that you need, then you can actually accomplish something with this. And that's the ultimate goal. But right now, being patient might be your best bet. Now, what is too long? Like, you don't want to wait too long. If you're just sitting around, like I said, waiting for something to happen, it's not ever going to happen. You're going to actually have to build up your energy reserves and then do something with that. But if you're just sitting around waiting for that to happen, it's probably not going to happen. So, how long do you wait? Go for a few days. See if you can build up your energy reserves. If you can't build up your energy reserves, then we need to look at doing something different than what you're currently doing. What are you eating? How much water are you drinking? How much sleep are you get? What is the quality of sleep you're getting? So there are a lot of different factors that play into this, but we've got to actually take a step and move in a different direction if you're not making any progress in that time. So if it's been a while that you're sitting there and you're not making progress, now is probably the time not to be patient. It's the time to take a little bit of action. But if you've been there for a day, if you've been there for 2 days, you probably need to rest. And that's the thing that is difficult to hear. And one of my big things, I hate the terms "you're stuck with it," "deal with it," "accept it," all those things, because I think in most cases we are too, how do I put this politically correct? We are too reserved in how we go about this. I was going to say lazy, and it's not a laziness. We're too reserved in how we go about the things that we go about, right? So we go in there and we're like, okay, well, they said I'm stuck with it. I'm stuck with it. And in most of the cases, that's not true. It's just accepting somebody else's word that that is the case. Just because they don't know how to get you where you want to go doesn't mean you can't get where you want to go. If I ask you how to drive through the streets of Pakistan, are you likely to know that? If you're not from Pakistan, no. If I ask you directions in your hometown, are you likely to know that? Yes. Just because you don't know the directions on those streets of Pakistan doesn't mean that you can't drive, right? It doesn't mean you don't know the direction. It means you don't know the directions there. It doesn't mean you don't know how to get to where you're going there. And that's the case a lot of times here is we take somebody's word for it. They tell us we're stuck with it. They tell us, it's something we need to accept. And we're like, okay, well, I guess I'm stuck with this. I guess I'll deal with it. But that's not always the best approach. Now, if you have accepted that you actually have, the ability to take action and move your health forward, that's an awesome place to be. But it can also be a frustrating place to be. Because like I said, that a lot of times will lead us to these places where you're just completely gassed. You don't have any energy left. You're frustrated. You don't feel good. And you want to do something to take that next step. But sometimes your best bet is just being patient, allowing yourself to build the resources to take that next step so that next step can actually be more meaningful. So if you are there, like I said, I've been there. I appreciate it. Just keep your head up. Put a smile on your face and be ready when that time comes to take that action step. So, as always, if this is something that helps you, if there is somebody out there that this is going to help, share it with them. Like or subscribe to the video. What I'm looking at right now, I want to know what is the most helpful information that I can share with you. We've got a lot of information. It's just a matter of finding the things that are going to help you move forward the fastest. So if you give me cues on whether this is helpful, I'll make more. If you give me cues that this is not helpful, I'm not going to make more videos like this. It's pretty simple on that. So either way, I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time, and I will catch you on the next video.